Yesterday, we saw both the Premier and the former Solicitor General, the now Deputy Premier, dodge questions about their summons from the Public Order Emergency Commission. In fact, since the summons was issued, we haven't heard a word from either the Premier or the former Solicitor General. Hiding the problem does not make it go away, Mr. Speaker. I ask the Premier, will he come clean and commit today to speaking with the Commission?
And to reply, the Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this is a federal inquiry into the federal government's use of the Federal Emergencies Act. From day one, Mr. Speaker, for Ontario, this was a policing matter. It was not a political matter. And the opposition knows, Mr. Speaker, politicians don't direct the police. Top officials from the OPP that were running the operation in conjunction with the municipal police agencies and the RCMP are testifying at the committee. Again, Mr. Speaker, this is a federal inquiry into the federal government's decision to use the Federal Emergencies Act.
The supplementary question.
I'd like to hear the word federal one more time, Speaker. Back to the Premier.
Order. Order. Stop the clock. Stop the clock. The House will come to order. We've got 58 minutes and 26 seconds to go. We're just getting started. It's the second day. And I have to be able to hear the member that has the floor. Start the clock. Supplementary question.
Thank you, Speaker. Back to the Premier. During former Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson's testimony to the Commission last week, we learned that in his conversations with the Prime Minister in February, the Prime Minister told Mayor Watson that the Premier was, and I quote, hiding from his responsibility for, yes, political reasons. Speaker, the Premier was hiding then when he let convoy organizers occupy Ottawa and harass residents, and he is hiding now by not testifying at the Commission. He cannot hide forever. Will the Premier finally do the right thing, go to Ottawa and testify before the Commission?
To reply, the Government House Leader.
Speaker, I think the Premier has been very clear that this is obviously a federal inquiry into the federal government's decision to invoke the Federal Emergencies Act. Now, I know the member opposite doesn't appreciate that, Mr. Speaker, but that is the case. At the same time, we have been assisting the Commission by ensuring that cabinet documents have been provided to the Commission, and by also ensuring that both the Deputy Minister of Transportation and the Deputy Solicitor General are made available to the Commission to assist them as they investigate the federal government's invocation of the Emergencies Act.
The final supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, back to the Premier. The Commission summoned the Premier and the Solicitor General, the former Solicitor General, because the people of Ottawa and Windsor and everybody else in this province deserve answers and they deserve accountability from this government. Instead, this Premier is choosing to hide behind parliamentary privilege? Parliamentary privilege? That's baloney, and everybody in this room knows it. He failed Ontarians.
I'm going to caution the member on her language. Yep. Caution the member on her language and recognize her to continue with her question.
This Premier, and this Premier knows it, failed Ontarians during the convoy and is failing us now. The former Ottawa Mayor testified.
Order.
The Prime Minister is going to testify, and so is the Mayor of Windsor. Other political leaders, Mr. Speaker, aren't afraid to talk to this Commission. Why is this Premier shaken in his boots?
And to respond, order. And to reply, the Government House Leader.
Again, Mr. Speaker, because it is a federal inquiry into the federal government's use of the Federal Emergencies Act, Mr. Speaker. At the same time, we are assisting the Commission in its work by ensuring that cabinet documents are provided to the Commission, by ensuring that the Deputy Solicitor General, the Deputy Minister of Transportation are made available to the Commission for testimony, Mr. Speaker. Also, obviously, the Commissioner of the OPP will be testifying, Mr. Speaker. The member herself shows exactly why this is political, and Mr. Speaker, it shouldn't be. It is a policing matter. We have been hearing that consistently throughout the testimony so far, and that is why we are assisting the Commission in ensuring, as I said, that cabinet documents are made available, that the Deputy Solicitor General has been made available, the Deputy Minister of Transportation, Mr. Speaker, and will continue to provide that assistance as required.
The next question, the member for Ottawa Centre.
Why, thank you, Speaker. Thank you very much. That question's to the Premier. Premier, nice to see you today. I expect an answer to the question I'm about to ask. Speaker, friends, I wonder if you could clear something up. Is the Mayor of Windsor a police officer, yes or no? Is the Prime Minister of Canada a police officer, yes or no? So could somebody please explain to the people of Ottawa Centre why these officials saw fit to answer the call to testify before a commission, but this Premier and the Minister responsible, former Solicitor General, won't? Let's get to the nut of it, Speaker. Lawyers representing this government told a federal court yesterday that irreparable harm will be caused if this Premier and that Minister testify before the Commission. Could the Premier tell us today, Speaker, what irreparable harm are you talking about?
To reply, the Government House Leader.
Again, Mr. Speaker, they may change the person asking the question, but the facts still remain the same. The federal government made a decision to invoke the Federal Emergencies Act. By the status of that legislation, the federal government has to convene a commission of inquiry about their use of the Federal Emergencies Act. We are assisting the commission, Mr. Speaker, as you would expect, by ensuring that the Deputy Minister of Transportation, the Deputy Solicitor General are made available to the commission. We know that the OPP Commissioner is also will be testifying, and at the same time, cabinet documents with respect to that time period have been turned over to the Commission. We will continue to assist the Commission as it investigates the federal government's use of a Federal Emergencies Act.
The supplementary question.
Thank you, Speaker. You didn't get an answer to my question. I really hope the Premier will rise in his place and answer the people of Ottawa Centre today, Speaker, because we deserve it. The question here is, what irreparable harm is this Premier and his lawyers talking about? Because I want to talk about actual irreparable harm. I want to talk about a government that sat on its hands for 3 weeks while chaos reigned in our city, while residents choked on diesel fumes, while hate groups ran amok with impunity in our city. And I want to talk about a government that it took 3 weeks for them to tow and find 39 vehicles, and then they gave those vehicles back to those truck owners without a single fine, despite the fact that this Premier promised $100,000 fines. Small businesses like the Ottawa Bike Cafe, Speaker, suffered terribly on Spark Street, and they are right now, as I say these words, teetering on bankruptcy. That's the real harm caused to the people of Ottawa Centre. What are the fake excuses this government is hiding behind today?
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Obviously, a tremendous amount of resources were provided to the City of Ottawa and continue to be, but the current Commission of Inquiry is specific to the federal government's use of the Federal Emergencies Act. And by the terms of that legislation, of course, the federal government had to invoke this Commission of Inquiry. Now, we are assisting the Commission, Mr. Speaker, in its work by ensuring that the Deputy Minister of Transportation is made available to the Commission, by ensuring that the Deputy Solicitor General is made available to the Commission. At the same time, certain cabinet documents have been requested. We're assisting the Commission by providing those documents to them, Mr. Speaker, so we'll continue to work with and assist the Commission as it does its work. Thank you.
The final supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, I have to say back to the Premier, I feel bad for the House Leader. It's tough to be pushed by a leader who won't take responsibility to face the music when that leader himself won't take a short drive up to Ottawa to face the music himself, despite repeated requests from a Commission Speaker that he has fact denied that he received them. We know he got them. So we know for a fact that the Commission has made clear, with several pieces of evidence, that the province chose not to get involved at early critical stages of the convoy protests. It's like they forgot the City of Ottawa was in the province of Ontario. And after what people back home have been through, this Premier and that Minister owe it to us to come to Ottawa and testify. So here's an offer, Speaker, through you to the government. I got a nice little hybrid vehicle here, Speaker. I leave on Thursday to go back to Ottawa. Do you need to drive, Premier? Do you need to drive, Minister? I'll take you there myself. The ride is a serious offer.
Once again, I remind the members to please make their comments through the chair. Order. Order. Response. Government House Leader.
Speaker, and again, we are continuing to assist the Commission of Inquiry into the federal government's use of the Federal Emergencies Act. We provided cabinet documents as requested. We, of course, have made the Deputy Minister of Transportation available. We've made the Deputy Solicitor General available as they do their work, and as well as the Commissioner of the OPP, Mr. Speaker. At the same time, I'm heartened to know that the member opposite has a green vehicle. He's very lucky because of all of the work that the Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade has been doing to ensure that green vehicles are the future in the province of Ontario. And because of the work of the Minister of Energy, we can now charge up those green vehicles on the on-ramps, between Ottawa and Toronto. Now, we couldn't do that before, could we? We couldn't do that before because they didn't exist, Mr. Speaker. So congratulations to the member opposite. We'll continue to work on behalf of the people of the province of Ontario, but really specifically to the Commission. We'll continue to assist them because it's important that we do so.
Next question, the member for Windsor West.
Thank you. And to the Government House Leader, there was absolutely nothing funny about what happened in Ottawa or in Windsor, so I suggest that you stop making light of the situation and cracking jokes. My question is to the Premier. The Federal Public Order Emergency Commission has requested to interview the Premier and Minister Jones regarding the use of the Federal Emergencies Act. In my riding, the Ambassador Bridge, North America's largest international crossing, was completely blocked by convoy supporters. Billions of dollars of goods was unable to cross into Canada or the United States, which caused auto and manufacturing plants to close, and thousands of workers were laid off. Cross-border workers, including nurses, were unable to access their jobs. Many small businesses in the area were forced to close and lost significant business due to the disruption. The people in my riding deserve complete transparency from this government. Just the other day, the Premier said he stands shoulder to shoulder with the Prime Minister in support of using the Emergency Act. Why doesn't he stand shoulder to shoulder with them at the Commission and actually answer their questions? Speaker, why do the Premier and Minister Jones continue to refuse to appear at the Federal Commission?
Remind members to make their comments through the chair. The response, Government House Leader.
I guess that question in itself highlights why the NDP is trying to turn this into something that is political. What we're trying to do, and what the Commission is trying to do, is get to the bottom of the fact of whether the Emergencies Act is required. It is, by law, the federal government has to invoke this Commission of Inquiry, Mr. Speaker. Now, they have asked us for certain documents, cabinet documents, and we're assisting the Commission in ensuring that that happens. It is a policing matter, as the Premier has said, Mr. Speaker. It shouldn't be a political matter like the opposition is trying to make it. That is why we have offered and ensuring that the Deputy Minister of Transportation is available to ask the questions, as the member has highlighted, the member for Ottawa Centre have highlighted. We're also making the Deputy Solicitor General available, Mr. Speaker. We'll continue to assist the Commission as it does its work to investigate the federal government's use of the Federal Emergencies Act, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question.
What that response shows is this government and this Premier's will to completely abdicate responsibility for the decisions that they did or didn't make while the crisis was happening in Windsor and Ottawa. For 6 days, my community was in crisis due to the blockade at the Ambassador Bridge. Residents in Sandwichtown were unable to access other parts of our city. Some were afraid to even leave their homes. Truck drivers trying to move goods back and forth across the border were stuck on the road for days without food or access to washrooms. The impact lasted far beyond the blockade, Speaker. The Premier and former Solicitor General are dodging requests to be interviewed by the Commission and are committed to fighting a summons to appear. Speaker, the Premier has long said that the buck stops with him, and yet he won't appear at the Commission to answer questions about his decisions. What is Premier Ford and Minister Jones hiding, and why won't they testify to ensure that something like this never again happens in my community, or in Ottawa, or in Fort Erie, or anywhere else in this province?
And to respond, the Government House Leader.
I suspect some of the elements of the member's question is exactly why there is a federal inquiry into the federal government's use of the Federal Emergencies Act, Mr. Speaker. That is why, of course, that we are assisting the Commission in its work by ensuring that the Deputy Minister of Transportation is available, that the Deputy Solicitor General is available, and by ensuring that Cabinet documents relevant to the Commission's inquiry are also made available. We continue to assist the Commission of Inquiry as it does its work in assessing whether the federal government's invocation of the Federal Emergencies Act was required at the time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.